I know several young men right now in their mid-20s who are living at home. They have full-time jobs. The rest
Gen Z
of
is going
us,
to history books for its economic downturn because right now the girls are scrambling. So in the last 50 years, during any type of recession or just economic downturn
At this
overall,
point, I seriously think Gen Z is just screwed. In 2026, Gen Z just simply earns way less than it costs to survive. The average Gen Zer makes...
Gen Z says they're broken, and the system is rigged against them. 300,000 people. And honestly, as a banker of 15 years and a Filipino dad, raising kids in this economy, they're not completely wrong. But they're not completely right either. Today I'm reacting to 3 viral Gen Z money struggles, and I'm going to tell you what the banks won't, which complaints are valid, which ones are excuses, and what you can actually do about it right now. Let's get into it.
Gen Z is going to history books for its economic downturn because right now the girls are scrambling. So in the last 50 years, during any type of recession or just economic downturn overall, you would see a trend in people's buying patterns. Normally during those times, people stop spending on the big luxuries, which would be considered vacations or any sort of luxury-like purchases such as higher quality clothing, items, anything like that. And instead, people tend to buy smaller items like a little lip gloss here and there, or a perfume, or even like a coffee to treat themselves, every now and again, even though they may not have the disposable income. But over the last year, the economy has not been following these patterns, and instead, people are still buying vacation. They're like, listen, I could die tomorrow, but I'm still gonna book the flight. And instead of buying cheaper items, they're investing their money in quality items that'll last them longer. So that by the time the economic downturn, is over, they still have their stuff and they can still use it. And also, people are no longer buying whatever celebrities sell them online, and they're going to their favorite influencer girly because she's been putting them on for the last 2 or 3 years. And it's even more interesting to see how these companies are scrambling because people are still using all of their PTO. I love to see it. If you're going on a trip, let me know where you're going in the comment.
There you go. What she's talking about is FOMO, fear of missing out, right? And what is that costing Gen Z and others, but primarily Gen Z for this video? It's costing them debt for the most part, because if they have credit cards, they have loans, they're putting the experience that they want now, and if they can't afford it with just straight cash from their checking account or cash in general, they're charging it on their cards for the experience, so they don't want to miss out. Whatever it could be. It could be for a trip. It could be for material item. Whatever it is. They want it now, but also not just credit cards. These buy now, pay later, Klarna, these type of things. They are helping facilitate Gen Z's wants, not necessarily needs, right? Based on what she was talking about in this video. But it's strong, and in terms of the want to not miss out on the bag, the jeans, whatever it is, the clothes, the experience, the travel. It has a strong force, kind of like Star Wars, and sucks people in, you know what I mean? All right, let's take a look at the comments on this one. Gonna visit my family on the East Coast, then Alaska, then South Carolina for my in-laws, then back to visit my family. There you go. So hopefully whoever made this comment is able to fund it without using debt or credit card. But you know what? Even if they are, for the points, hopefully they're able to pay it back within the payment cycle, so they don't have to worry about those ridiculous interests, because credit cards, they're up like 30s, maybe 25-30%. So it's crazy. Going to Vegas for Adele, and I'll be at the casino. Well, there you go. Maybe you win at the casino and you win back your trip. Going to Cabo, Nashville last week, Tulum next month. There you go. Gen X are here, and I've learned to change how I work. I now utilize all my PTO planning a big trip for the long weekends. Oh, and definitely using the company floating holidays for my actual B-day. You know what? Well, there you go. That's what it's for. You're working for the company. Those are the terms and conditions as it relates to your employment and your time off. Use it. 100%. You deserve it. All right, let's take a look at the next video.
I know several young men right now in their mid-20s who are living at home. They have full-time jobs. The rest of us are living in apartments. I get married in 4 months. We are not buying a house. I saw someone on Twitter call this permanent adolescence. That's exactly what it is. And it's going to get worse. Donald Trump just said he wants people that already own homes to see their home values go up. That's sounding a lot like I will never own a home. When we enrich boomers and Gen Xers at the expense of Gen Z, we are severing our ability to leave the nest. Why do you think people are having kids so late? I'm a capitalist, but I will tell you this is exactly why democratic socialist figures like Zohran Mamdani are gaining so much popularity, because at least someone is listening to us. The future I think a lot of us see for ourselves is that we continue to live in boxes, AI replaces all of our jobs, and we have to live off some stimmy check from the government. That's bleak.
Well, that is her opinion, right? And her perspective. I'll tell you, I know a lot of Gen Z. My neighbor is Gen Z, and he is doing quite well for himself. He is not living at home. He has his own home. Very successful business owner doing his own thing. I have a cousin that Gen Z again, just graduated from nursing school, is with his girlfriend, and they were living outside of their parents' home. They just actually rented a house. They want to do that first before actually jumping in and purchasing their own home, but they're doing their thing. So within my own circle, family, and network of close friends, I can't relate too much what she was talking about in the video, Gen Z living with parents, but it is out there, right? Because if she's talking about it, I'm assuming it's her generation. She knows. I want to say, no, none of my Gen Z family, like cousins or friends or anything like that, live with their parents. So again, within my circle, I can't relate. Well, number one, I'm not a Gen Z, I'm a millennial, but I don't have any firsthand knowledge or connection with a Gen Z that lives with their parents. For the most part, folks I know, they're living on their own, they're doing their own thing, and they're thriving. They work hard too. But I guess there are other people like that are out there. All right, let's take a look at the comments. Try living in California. My cousin that just graduated in nursing, he lives in California doing his thing. His girlfriend's a nurse as well. I'm 26 and bought a house 20 minutes outside of Indianapolis. It's a smaller 2-bedroom home, but it's a start. People need to look for starter homes, not the 3,000 square foot houses. Facts. You see what I'm talking about? Dylan, good for you. Starter homes, right? And at Dave Ramsey, I often listen to him. Don't look at it as a forever home, especially Gen Z just starting out. Look at it as an opportunity to increase your wealth in the long run, so to speak. Long run meaning more than 5-10 years. For me, that's a long run. Or long term. You don't want to purchase your dream home or a McMansion or whatever. You're probably going to have a hard time considering you're just starting out in your career, young professional, or whatever your trade skill or whatever profession you're in. It's going to be difficult. But if you start off baby steps, eventually you will likely, as long as you are diligent, work hard, consistent with your effort and your focus, 100% you can get there. All right, let's take a look at the next video.
At this point, I seriously think Gen Z is just screwed. In 2026, Gen Z just simply earns way less than it costs to survive. The average Gen Zer makes about $25K a year, which is around $21,000 a month, and spends basically all of it on bills or rent. Nearly half of Gen Z runs out of money before the end of the month ends, and that's not just budgeting, that's just survival at that point. And don't get me started on student loan debt, because the average Gen Zer also has about 30K of student loan debt on top of all of that. We are spending more on essentials than any other previous generation, and wages just keep going down, and the cost of living just keeps going up. You're not failing in life, the system is just has completely fucked us over. Budgeting does help, don't get me wrong, I still use mine to budget and track all of my expenses, but the system is still failing us.
I'm glad she spoke on that about the budgeting at the tail end, because when your perspective in life is just, oh, I'm screwed, it's just, my generation has it the worst, this and that. There's other generations in the past. At least we're not doing a forcible draft, right? Considering what's happening socioeconomic, especially global events that are going on. So for the most part, there are options, there are alternatives, and there are resources out there. Number one being YouTube, TikTok. Instead of watching maybe dance videos, watch this, content like this that'll help you with your money habits and your money acumen, knowledge, right? It's not going to be an immediate a millionaire by tomorrow by watching these videos, but so long as you implement, learn, and actually take it serious, 100%. That's what I did. I started with the TikTok, FinTalk, and YouTube, money gurus, and I don't do all, but I do take knowledge tidbits of what I see, what I hear, and I research it. Then I test it out on my own. Some of them work, very little. Most of them don't work. But you gotta be willing to try, is all I'm saying. Be willing to try, put yourself out there. You're gonna fail a lot, because I did, a lot. But you gotta just keep trying, right? That's the great thing about life. Tomorrow is another day. You can try again. All right, comments. Was just doing my taxes and I only make $30,000 a year. Hey, you know what? That's, I think what the poverty level is 19 or 20,000 or something like that in the U.S. as of today. But double check me on that and drop it in the comments what it actually is. So you're making money, is what I'm saying. And it's not necessarily how much you make; it's how much you keep, right? After all your expenses, your bills, and everything else. Because somebody can make $100,000, but their expenses per year is $200,000. Well, then they're running negative. They're living a lifestyle that they can't afford. But if somebody's making $30,000, or maybe renting a room, not a complete apartment or house or whatever it is, expenses are tight month to month, but they have a goal and they're only spending maybe $20,000 per year on everything else, $10,000 being banked. Can you imagine? That's a lot. Boomers and Gen X aren't retiring, so Gen Z has less options. Employers are going to have a lot more difficulty hiring in the near future if they don't change their employment standards. That's another opinion right there. Now, imagine also having type 1 diabetes and needing to spend $1,000 per month on medical supplies to literally exist. Alright, I'll read one more. Literally can't even find a job. I've been applying for 2 months and not a single callback. Everyone is hiring till I go in and ask to talk to a hiring manager. Then suddenly, nowhere is. Look, I'm not here to tell Gen Z to just work harder. That's lazy advice from people who bought a house for $80,000. And the game has changed. But here's what hasn't changed. The people who win with the money are the ones who learn the rules. Even when the rules are unfair. Your parents may not have taught you this stuff. School definitely didn't, but that's exactly why channels like this exist. I'm a tired Filipino dad from Texas who spent 15 years watching people make the same money mistakes on repeat, and I don't want it for you. So if this hit different, subscribe and drop Gen Z in the comments. I want to hear from your biggest money struggle, and I'll react to it next. Remember, make smart moves, not just loud ones. I'll see you on the next one.